afternoon, Melton Mowbray, and where else you are watching this live today. I am here with the lovely Karen, and we are going to be discussing some quacking and some children's books today. So for you guys who aren't aware, Karen is the head behind Quack Media. And also alongside that, she is releasing a new range of children's books as well. So we're going to be speaking about both of those things today. And if you guys have got any questions, feel free to pop them in the comment section and I will ask them live on air. So without further ado, Karen, let's start with the quacking. How did you
Okay.
get into that particular aspect of media and marketing to begin with?
I co-owned a sort of a decent size design and manufacturing business for 15 years. We used to design, gosh, everything I can think of for Tesco and Monsoon and John Lewis, and manufactured over in Hong Kong. And that company was taken over in 2012, 2013. And we were all kicked out, and I'm not allowed to talk about that because I signed a disclosure form. Um,
Okay.
and then I thought, oh gosh, I've got to set up on my own. So I thought, well, I'll just pick the things that I'm best at. And I'd already become quite proficient in Shopify websites, and it got quite heavily into social media. So I thought, well, I like people, I can design websites, and I know a bit about social media. So that's why I then just set up on my own as Quack Media. And I've been doing that for about 10 years, I think now. So, yeah.
Um, so what sort of clients do you work with on a basis? Do you have them fall in one particular sector or do you have a mixture of them?
No, all sorts of people. So sometimes I'll just design a new website, and it can be for somebody that actually wants to have a shop online or just a really basic website. And then I'll just hand it over to them and show them how to use it. Or often they'll keep me on board, and then they will just call on me ad hoc. So there's several sites that I just update on a monthly or bi-monthly basis. And if they need any help, they just literally drop me an email or a text and say, they need something doing. And then my social media clients are really varied. So I'm just about to start working with a dental firm. I work with a local performing arts company who that is quite well known. And I've worked with window firms and solicitors and anybody really that just needs somebody on a weekly basis to manage their social media and to come up with interesting and informative posts.
That's good. So obviously you've been doing this for 10 years. You've clearly given the variety of clients that you've got are good at what you do. But I must ask, how have we got to the point where someone's reaching out of me and saying, "Hey, I know someone that's doing a book launch. Can you promote it, please?" How have you come about now that particular side of your
Oh,
illustrious
so
career?
well, when I used to have the old design company, we were just constantly coming up with brands and designs for the high street. And we were heavily into greeting cards, and I used to have to write all the poems and everything. And I've always written poetry. So about 12 years ago, I started writing all these stories, and they've literally sat on my Mac for all those years. And then last summer, I just thought, I have to do something with it. I've got to, if I don't do it now, I'll never do it. So I just thought, well, I know what to do. I can rewrite it, I can design it, and I can publish it. So it was a bit of a steep learning curve. Brought the first one out that's all based on my daughter when she was 5. It's called The Swimming Lesson. And a few years ago, I actually trained as a mindfulness teacher. It's just something that I've always wanted to do. So the books are all to promote confidence and resilience in small children. So the swimming lesson's about a swimming lesson. and nerves. And then I've just brought out the second one called The Football Game. And it's all about a little boy called Billy who's 6 and how he overcomes his nerves at the local football club. So I wrote them years ago, and now I'm just finally doing something about it. That's how it's happened.
Yeah, and I imagine Billy's story is such a big one at the moment with us getting to the finals of the Euros. Obviously, it did not come home as much as we wanted it to come home. It's still stuck in Spanish customs somewhere. Um, we'll try in a couple of years for the World Cup, but I know there's been so much of a conversation about football on the back of that. So was the timing of Billy's story kind of in line with that, or was it just kind of
No,
circumstance and coincidence, so to
no,
speak?
I was meant to sort of get onto it about a couple of months ago, but work is my main job is more important because the books are just a hobby.
Yeah, I get it
Um,
entirely.
yeah, and to the upset of my family, it's not about rugby because we're a rugby family. But I had the story about Billy the footballer, so I thought, well, I'll do that first, and then I've got about I think there's about another 25 in the wings. And the next two, it's the dance class that's next, and then after that, the rugby game, the rugby match. So I'll
Oh,
get
wow,
there
so you've got a
eventually.
full-blown series of these
Oh
books coming
gosh,
out then.
yeah. That's the unfortunate thing with having a mind that comes up with too many ideas, I think.
As someone who's got about 10 different manuscripts on her laptop, I get it entirely. I'm midway through like 3 different novels at the moment, so I get the struggle, so to speak. So tell us a little bit about this book launch you got coming up then. Obviously, I alluded to it a little bit earlier on in our chat when we kind of spoke about your jump towards children's writing. But talk to us about where it is, when it is, and what people can expect from attending said launch.
Okay, well, a couple of my friends suggested that I do it, um, and I just thought, well, I don't really know what I'm doing, so I'll just go for it and plan it. So it's this Saturday, the 27th, and it's at Syston Rugby Club from 1 till 3. And the plan is that anybody can just turn up. My books are primarily for children aged 3 to 7 years. And the hope is that some of them might come in and sit down on the floor, but I'm anticipating a lot of them will be running around. And the plan is just to read both books 3 times through between 1 and 3. There's some light refreshments. There's a lady who lives, Wendy Bakes is her name, a lady that lives in Rearsby, and she's baked me the most amazing gluten and vegan biscuits for everybody to have,
Oh, okay.
in the shape of swimming caps and footballs.
Oh, that's adorable.
And then just some drinks so that at least when the children do come in, there's something for them to eat.
Yeah,
Um,
and then parents and carers have got something as well, haven't they?
exactly, yeah. And obviously, I have no idea who will turn up, so I hope I've got enough. And then there's just a little area where I've ordered loads of balloons. And if the parents want to take a photo of their own child, then they can do, but they don't have to. And then both books are for sale on the day, and I have reduced them. So the swimming lesson will be £5 and the football game will be £7. So yeah, both are for sale, but people don't have to buy them. And really, it's just about awareness and yeah, as I say, it's a hobby and it's a long-term thing. So occasionally you've got to put on these events.
Yeah, and I think reading for pleasure nowadays is such something that we really need to work on, not just with kids, I would argue, but with adults as well. I think it's something that is so important, and good on you for kind of putting events on like this book launch on Saturday to help, start that love of reading within kids as
And
well.
I'm also a massive advocate of child confidence as well. And that's what these books promote. You know, they encourage the young children to really understand that the way they feel with their nerves and uncertainty, and that it's just completely normal, and all children feel like that. So it's really sweet, because before the summer holidays, I'd started reading the books to schools, which is something that I really want to grow after the holidays. And I think I managed to visit about 5 schools. And the conversations that I have with the children are just priceless. You know, with them all putting their hand up in the air, and I've got a yellow cap, and I've got a red cap, and I love fish and chips, and yeah. I wish I could do that all day, every day, but I
Oh,
can't.
yeah, because it's so good that, like, you're getting that engagement coming through like that. I imagine that's just so rewarding, isn't it?
It is, and I think it's what a lot of authors do, you know, especially with children's books, that they go into school, and because it's all free of charge, you just go in and read to the classes, and it's really rewarding, because they're all, well, I think they're thrilled at anybody going in and seeing them. So if you actually sit and read a book to them, then I think they quite like it.
So if you're, let's say, for example, you're a parent, you're a carer, you're a teacher, childminder, youth worker, basically anybody else that knows a child or has a child that would be interested in these books, but you can't make the book launch for whatever reason, but you still want to buy the books, how do people go about buying those books?
Well, I have print of both books, and they're both for sale on my karenwillbornbooks.com website. Yeah, and they're both available now. So that's where people can pick them up from.
Brilliant. And I will certainly, when I update the description after that, share that link as well. So if you
Thanks.
guys do want to check out those books, if you thought they were really interesting, talking about them, definitely go onto Karen's website and pick up a couple of copies, of those books. And as we've already discussed, Karen has got more of the series coming up as well.
Yeah, that would be a while off yet.
little bit of a time. Just bear in mind, guys, she does also have a really successful day job as well. So I don't want any of you being there like, where's the next book, in the comment section, just poking poor Karen, please. I'd like to think I've taught you guys better. So Karen, thank you so much for taking the time out of what I can imagine is a very busy time, both with your day job and in the prep of Saturday's book launch, for
thank you so
talking
much
to
for having
me.
me on.
You're
I really
more than well.
appreciate it.
You're more than welcome. If you guys, if you're more interested in what we've had to say, feel free to follow Karen both at Karen Willborun Books and on Quack Media as well. And if you're seeing this from Karen's side and you like my stuff, then feel free to follow my Melton as well. On that note, it is goodbye from myself and goodbye from Karen, and have a lovely rest of your day, week. And make sure, if you are wanting to see that book launch, that you head to Syston Rugby Club on Saturday. Details are in this video, and I have also put the details in this week's What's On guide as well. But otherwise, it's goodbye
Thank
from us
you.
both, and have a lovely rest of the week.
Thanks very much.